Hey there guys, how's it going? I hope you're all doing great. Now in this video, I want to show you how you can use the new library regarding data binding that you will find in Android Jetpack. Okay, so as always, we're going to start to build a small application that will implement the library in question. And of course, you will find more information. So where you can find further reading, further information, you will find that down below in the description and at the end of this video as well. All right, so let's get started. I have here my Android Studio. Let's go ahead and create a new project. Okay, an empty activity should be fine. So let's give it a name. I'm going to call this something like data binding. You can call it whatever you like, of course. All right, so let's click finish and then wait for our project to be built. Okay, so the application will be quite simple actually. We will have only one screen where we want to display some information that we will build in the application, okay? And the point to that is to simply show you how data binding works. So in order to do that, let's go ahead and start to create our data that we want to display. So I'm gonna create a new Kotlin file and I'm gonna call this car. Okay, so this is going to be a car object that we want to display. So I'm going to create a data class here, car, and I'm going to give it some fields. I'm going to say val image. Okay, so we're going to have an image of the car. That's going to be an integer, so it's going to be a reference to an image that we will have here. Then I have brand. That's going to be a string. I also have val model of my car. That's going to be a string. And let's add val top speed, and that's going to be an integer. Okay, so this is my car. We will display this information through data binding in our UI. But I want to create another one, okay, another data class, and I'm going to call this driver. The reason I want two pieces of information is I want to show you how you can kind of switch between those two and use whichever one you need at any one time. So I'm going to create another data class, driver. And for this one, let's go ahead and create an image as well. That's going to be an integer. We're going to have a val name that's going to be a string. And we're going to have a val age of our driver. That's going to be an integer. Okay, so there we go. We have our data. Now let's go ahead and build our UI first. Okay, our UI is going to be in the main activity. So at the moment we have a text view, which we don't really need. Okay, so let's go to our design. Now, what I have done in the background without actually showing it in this video is I went ahead and I downloaded a couple of images that we will be able to display here. So you can do that as well. For my part, I have a car, okay, downloaded from Google, and then I have a person. Okay, so you can do that as well. You can go ahead and download whatever two images you like. It doesn't really matter. Or you can simply, if you don't want to download it, you can simply create them using a vector asset and choose your image from here. Okay, you can do what you like. The actual image doesn't really matter. All right, so we are in our UI. So first of all, we're going to add an image, okay, an image view. Okay, and I'm going to say, let me just add that. I'm going to put the car here just so that it lets me display it, but I want to actually delete that source. Okay, let me just delete that. And I'm going to have the width and height, or let's put rather just the height of 100 dp. Okay, just so that we can see it here. And let's put, because it's simply a vertical line, let's put the width at 50 dp as well. Okay, so we have our car here. Let's attach it to the sides and to the top. Okay, and if I go here, I'm going to add a padding of, let's say, 50 dp, and I'm going to hit option return. So I'm going to extract that dimension resource, and I'm going to call this padding so that we can use this padding over and over again. I think 50 might be a bit too much. Yeah, let's actually, I'm going to command click or control click if you're on a PC, and I'm going to switch this to 20. That should be fine. Okay, so we have our image view, and I'm going to call this car image. Okay, that's fine. So we need a few more pieces of information. So we have brand, model, and top speed. So we need 3 text views. The first one is going to be our brand. Attach it to the sides, and I'm going to attach it below the image. Okay, let's add a padding here, and that's going to be the padding that we had previously. This is going to be car brand. Okay, then I'm just going to copy this. It might be easier to do it like that. Paste it. Car model. Okay, everything stays the same, but to the bottom of car brand. Okay, and then I'm going to paste it again. And here I'm going to say car speed. Padding is the same. Car, which one's the previous one? Model. Okay, I think I put cat model and cat brand for some reason. Let me just shift F6 here, and I'm going to replace that with car. Okay, and that replaces it here and here. Okay, so I'm going to do that for the cat model as well. Shift F6, and I'm going to say car model. And I'm going to say car here. I do have something with car, cat instead of car. Okay, so if we have a look in the design, that's exactly what I was looking for. So we have this. Now I want to put sort of a divider here. I think we should have something like that. Let me search for the divider, horizontal divider, that's fine. Okay, attach it to the left, to the right, and down below the, let's see if I can grab it. There we go, below the text view. Okay, this should probably also have a padding here. Also our padding. Okay, so we have our car information here, but I also want the driver information. So for that, I'm going to add another another image view. Okay, whatever that is, doesn't really matter. Okay, move to code. So this is going to be driver image. Okay, the width is going to be 50 dp. We're going to change that later on. 100 dp for the height. Okay, we don't have any constraints, so let's grab some constraints from here. Let's say the constraints are going to be the same actually. Okay, the source compat we need to remove. We don't want any image at the moment. The bottom of needs to be the divider. Okay, and that's about it. Absolute X and Y is just for the editor here. It doesn't really matter. Okay, so there we go. We have our driver image here. Does it have a padding? It does not. So let's add a padding, which is the actual padding here. Okay, so we have that, and we have 2 more pieces of information that we need to add. So I'm going to add the view here. Add it twice. Okay, no, actually that's the wrong view. That was the divider. Let me just pick up a text view. Okay, copy that, paste it twice. Okay, so the first one is going to be driver. What did I have? I have name and age. Okay, so driver name, text view, that's fine. This goes below driver image. Okay, and this one is driver age. Okay, and this one goes below my driver name. Okay, so I think that is all for the design. You can, of course, work more on this at any time, but I'm going to just leave it like this, and I'm going to fill out the information here. Okay, so in our main activity, we will have a couple of objects that we want to create here. Okay, so that's going to be val car is going to be a car. Okay, here we have r.drawable.car. Okay, for the image. Then we have, let's say, BMW, because that's what I have the photo of, M5. And then I have the top speed is going to be 250. And then val driver is going to be a driver object that has r.drawable.driver, or person, I think I called it. Okay, the name is going to be Bond, and then the age is going to be 35, let's say. Okay, so we have these two pieces of information that we want displayed on our layout. So how do we do that? Well, there are, I would say, 3 steps to this setup. Okay, so the first step is we need to actually enable the data binding library, and we will do that in the build.gradle file. Okay, so either you can double shift. Okay, so I hit double shift to get the search everywhere dialog box, and you can type here build.gradle, and you can choose the app file, or you can of course go to Gradle scripts and choose the build.gradle file here. Okay, now here inside Android we have a build features block. Okay, and here we have data binding, and that's going to be true. Okay, so we have build features data binding true. Okay, we need to sync now, and I'm just going to let that sync. If you get an error here, then you mistyped something, so make sure to check this. Okay, so we have that. So that's the first step. The second step is enabling our layout so that it has data binding enabled. Okay, so here at the top, we're going to have, so right after the XML version, we're going to have a layout tag. Okay, so the layout tag is actually going to be our main tag. So I'm going to pick up the end tag, and I'm going to put it right at the end here. Okay, of course, we need to move the XML namespace from here to here. Okay, and then I'm going to hit Option Command L to arrange everything nicely in the page. Okay, so you can see that the main element here is going to be our layout. Now, inside our layout, we need to declare what data we are expecting. Okay, so we have a data tag. Okay, and inside here, we have a variable tag. So the first one is going to be the name. Okay, so the name that we want to give this variable, I'm going to say car, and the type is going to be car, but here we are looking for the suggestions if they do ever come up. There we go. So we have the car with the namespace. So we do need the whole namespace here. Okay, now we are also expecting a variable called driver. Okay, and here we're going to have driver. Okay, so we need the whole namespace again. Okay, so these are the 2 variables that we are expecting. All right, so in order to use the variables here inside our views, we will have something like this. We will have app image with a lowercase I image resource. It's going to be, now, how do we use the variable? We have a certain expression. We have at curly brace, close curly brace. And inside here, we can actually use the variable. So I'm going to say car dot image. Okay, so let's add that. We have our image resource, and then I'm going to add the image resource down below for my driver image. Okay, it's going to be the same image resource, but here I have driver.image. Okay, so I have that. Now let's go ahead and create the text view. So the text view, instead of text view, it's going to have at curly brace, and here I have car.model. Okay, I also have the car brand. So here I'm going to have at car.brand. Okay, and let's skip the speed for now. Let's go down below to driver name, and here I'm going to have driver.name. Okay, and we'll skip the age as well. So for now, we have almost all the information. The reason I want to skip those 2 is because I want to show you something a bit more complex in the speed and especially in the age. Okay, but for now, the basics are here. So how do we connect these variables that we've created here with the layout variables here? Well, it's quite simple. Here we need to retrieve the binding. Okay, so that's an object that was created for us. So we say val binding is going to be data binding util. Okay, import that, dot set content view, and here we set the content that we need. So we are using this as the activity, and then r.layout.activity main. Okay, so we need to infer the type. So the binding is going to be of the type activity main binding. Okay, so this was created for us by the build system when we enabled data binding. Okay, so this is what we call the binding object that we can use to connect these variables here with the variables in activity main. So we can simply say binding dot car is going to be the car that we have, the car object, and then binding dot driver is going to be our driver. Okay, so that is all we need to do for now. I think that should work. That should display our information. So let's go ahead and run the code. Okay, run the application, and then we should see some data and some images displayed on our screen. Let's have a look. Okay, so the application has run. The only issue is that the images are really small because we put constraints on the sizes. So that's fine. Let's go ahead and put wrap content instead of the width. I'm going to leave height 100 because otherwise the image will be too big. So wrap content for the driver image as well, and then run that again. Let's see the new sizes of the images. All right, so I think that is better. So this is my car image. We have BMW M5. Okay, remember we skipped this text view. Okay, that was the speed. And then we have the image for our driver, and we have the name. Okay, so you can see how you can switch between the two variables. That's why I wanted to have two of them. You can switch between them whenever you need. So either you need car.brand or driver.image, whatever it is, you can switch it like that. Okay, so something a little bit more interesting now. Not only can we use car.model, so references to values, but we can have expressions inside the layouts as well. So here is an example. Let's say we want to say whether a car is fast or slow. Okay, so we can decide that based on the speed. So I can say car.speed or top speed greater than or equal to, let's say, 200. In that case, I have fast and colon slow. Now, importantly, here you will see you have errors, and that's because inside the expressions here, you need to, if you want strings, you need to mark them with apostrophes. Okay, this is kind of a weird key, but you need apostrophe here. It's not quote, is not single quote, is not double quote, it needs to be apostrophe. On a Mac, you can find it on the top left key. Okay, I'm not sure on a PC, but I think it's kind of in the same area. So here for the slow as well. Okay, so if our car's top speed is over 200, then we will get fast, otherwise we get slow. So let's go ahead and run this. And instead of this text view, we should have a text that says either fast or slow. There we go. So we have fast because our BMW was had a top speed of 250, so we got fast here. So this is how you would use expressions here inside the value that you want to print out. Okay, I want to show you one more example that's a bit more complex, and that is for the driver age. So for the driver age, I want to say if the driver is 18 or over, then I want to display a more complex text where we actually reference another element, another view element here. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, here we have add curly braces. So we have driver.age greater than or equal to 18. Okay, question mark. So this is already known. Now here, how do we reference another field? We can say driver name dot text. Okay, and then I have plus. I want to expand my string. So here I have accent, okay, space drives a, space accent plus. Okay, so I want to say this driver drives this car. Okay, so car brand dot text. Okay, so you can see my car brand is all the way here at the top. So I'm referencing this text view here. Okay, so this driver drives this car brand plus a space plus car model. I think it's car model dot text. Okay, so that is if this condition is true. Otherwise, what do we have? We have driver name dot text plus quote, apostrophe cannot drive and apostrophe. So you can see a bit of a more complex expression here. If we have something, then we use a couple of other fields plus to construct our string. Okay, so we display something more interesting. Otherwise, we do something similar, but a bit simpler. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this. Now remember, our driver bond has the age 35. So this should display the nice string for us. All right, so there we go. We have Bond drives a BMW M5. Okay, so that is in a nutshell how you would use data binding. Now, of course, there's more you could do with this library. There are other options. What I've presented here is a very simple application to get you started and to teach you the main basic concepts in this library. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. Now, if you do want more information, I have a more complete course on the Jetpack system. Okay, so the Jetpack libraries, okay, which includes data binding, but it has other things like room database, it has navigation, it has a lot of other things. Okay, so very, very useful and very complex, complete course. Okay, so if you're interested in that, check out the link down below. And I've also linked to a few more resources that I find useful. So check them out as well if you want to find out more about this. All right, guys, so that's all I have for you today. Now I have these kind of videos every week, so do go ahead and subscribe and like this video. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm to promote it to other people and promote my channel. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you next time.